This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or an entire video dedication, then feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. This video is dedicated to Antonio Rouse. Antonio, thank you. Teysa Karlov versus Alela, Artful Provocateur. I don't know if I've ever played against Alela in 1 versus 1. So I'm very interested to see how well she does. Let's see here, we're going for a tap land first of all. A Skull Clamp on turn 1, that's not good. It gives us time to remove it at least though, so that's a risky play from our opponent. Let's go in for a little bit of ramp from the Orzhov Signet. Ooh, Mana Crypt. Alright, so our opponent's got a really good start off on us, even more card draw off of a Vedalken Archmage. I think we have to go in for Despark onto that. So that means that we go Stoneforge Mystic first of all. We'll grab a Clamp of our own. And then we'll go Despark onto that. I'd like to hold on to it for the commander, but Vedalken Archmage is free card draw, unlike the Skull Clamp, which they have to actually pay for. Not particularly enthralled about either of them being in play, to be honest. So they get down their commander, and then a Grafdigger's Cage will give them a fairy ready to Skull Clamp. I think it's Anguished Unmaking onto Skull Clamp, and then Swords to Plowshares onto Alela. And we'll just have to hope that that's enough to hold them at bay for the meanwhile. One more land, and they can get back into their commander. They do manage to get into a land, so probably, yep, going in for Alela again, then swinging in for 2 in the air. And we get into a swamp, so I think we have to go Hangerback Walker for 2. And then we could Skull Clamp. I think we're just going for our commander here. And I really don't recommend throwing out Skull Clamp without having a means of actually making use of it, but I have a feeling that every single turn and every single piece of mana is going to matter in this game. Commander Sphere from our opponent gets them into another fairy. Followed by Crucible of Worlds. They don't have any lands that they can grab back. So they've got a really fast hand here, but they've only got 1 card left. And we've gotten rid of 2 pieces of their main card draw, so if we can just manage to tread water for long enough, we ought to be able to do something here. Let's see, we can go 2 mana into Hangerback Walker. We can't hold up Dictate of Erebos, unfortunately. How much are we taking next turn? It's 2, 4, 6 and 8. I think we have to take 8 and hold up the Dictate of Erebos, because that's our only means of dealing with all these creatures at the moment. So let's hold up Dictate. Lightning Greaves from our opponent. Yeah, luckily, if we're going to rely on Dictate of Erebos, then hopefully we're not going to have too much trouble getting rid of their commander. We're going to need a lot of tokens to get rid of all these fairies, though. Now they're into Bugden as well, so giving all of their artifacts hexproof. Maybe it's Austere Command we want in that case, although do we really want to wipe out our Skull Clamp? Anyway, 0 cards in our opponent's hand at least. And surprisingly, just swinging in with Alela. That's very surprising. So hitting us for 2. Yeah, I'm glad we held up Dictate of Erebos now. Yeah, that's a really good tempo play for us. They're probably playing into the fact that we held up a bunch of mana. Alright, Cartel Aristocrat is a sack outlet. That's really good in case we have to get rid of the Stoneforge. Let's go 2 mana into Hangerback Walker. Then we'll clamp the Hangerback Walker. This will force our opponent to Get rid of 2 creatures, we get 2 Thopters, and we draw 4 cards. That is 2 cards twice, showing off the power of Teysa. So we get into another land for the turn. Let's also go for that Sol Ring. And we will clamp the Stoneforge Mystic. Then go for Cartel Aristocrat. And we'll get rid of Stoneforge Mystic just so we can hold some Thopters in the air. Alright, and we get into another sack outlet in Viscerous Seer. Yeah, I think we have to sacrifice another creature here in order to completely wipe our opponent's board. We'll take protection from black, don't think it really matters. So in that case we might as well we'll hold up Path to Exile and we'll go for a clamp. So a really fast start from our opponent, but we did a good job, if I do say so myself, in controlling the board. And now our opponent has no cards in hand. We've got another sack outlet in hand, which we're just going to keep hold of. Not going to bother swinging in because our opponent will just maze it. Although you should always try it because sometimes your opponent forgets to maze. We'll keep hold of Wasteland. Don't think Westvale Abbey is going to be of much relevance. Don't think Night's Whisper is either. Seemingly nothing for our opponent to do here. That is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. They might be holding on to a Rift. I'd like to get rid of their Maze of Ith, but they could just play it again with the Crucible of Worlds, unfortunately. Yeah, so let's just play out a Plains. And then we'll swing in with these things and see what they want to do. Just hoping it's not a Cyclonic Rift. Going for Maze onto our commander, so they just take a hit for 3. So let's go for the Athreos. Going for Teysa as well. And then how's about a Skull Clamp onto this Thopter. Alright, now we've got a Greaves. I think we go in for Greaves. And we'll hold up that Enlightened Tutor. I don't really see what we'd want to go for with Enlightened Tutor, to be honest. Ditch a Swamp because we've got Urborg in play. Just a Temple of Silence from our opponent. Still don't know what card they drew into last turn. And still not casting whatever it is that they got into, so we'll go for Enlightened Tutor. Alright, our opponent decides to scoop it up there, so they've clearly got nothing in hand. I think we would have gone for Worm Coil Engine there, because if that dies, then we get 2 Lifelinkers and 2 Death Touchers, both at 3/3. We have Lightning Greaves in play, ready to put on the Worm Coil Engine, so how much damage would that have been? They'd probably take Athreos out of combat. They take 6, 8, 10 and 12 damage. Maybe an extra point of damage to the Skull Clamp. So yeah, over the next turn or two we're probably getting rid of them there. We just managed to have enough removal, and even more removal in hand, to get rid of their card draw. They had fast mana, they had the colours, and they had pretty much everything they needed. Unfortunately for them, we had the removal for what they needed. So that was a really good showing for Teysa Karlov, and it just goes to show how important removal is, because had we not have had that, our opponent would have run roughshod all over us in that game. Hopefully you all enjoyed this return to Teysa Karlov. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did. And I will see you all in the next video. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.